Good day, my Fire Force. This is Firefly saying that what you are about to listen to are my are me and a friend's own works creating statements for our alternate universe of the Magnus Archives, a horror-themed podcast that deals with many things, mostly supernatural. Mostly. If you haven't seen it, this does include very much many spoilers, though I do hope that before you listen to this, you at least know how the Magnus Archives end. I'll be reading them off now. Hope you enjoy. Statement 0001106. Statement of Blake Mercy. Statement given November 6th, 2000. Regarding his encounter with a beast-like person. Statement directly taken by archivist of the Usher Foundation. Statement begins. Before we start, I'd like to say I am aware of the irony of my last name, but it goes deeper than you probably think. And I'm sorry for the poor handwriting. I tried using a little computer, but it wouldn't work when I tried typing up this thing. Anyway, I never was the happiest child. My parents were, for lack of a better term, abusive. They never beat me, not until the very end, but they never treated me nice. Mom was always busy down at the bar, and Dad was either asleep or angry. My grandma, she treated me well, but she died when I was 10. One day, my parents were mad at me. Don't know, I don't remember why. Must have been I'd forgotten to do my chores for the 10th time that week. No, you aren't reading that wrong. Finally, I decided to swing, but then, after I hit the ground, I saw a blur shoot past me. You know those old recordings in movies that have terrified screams in them? They're not right. The real thing is much more brutal to listen to. I probably should have felt scared when my vision cleared and I saw that man standing over their bodies, but I didn't. And I felt safe, protected. I know it sounds crazy, but when I looked and saw those slitted eyes staring at me, I knew I was safe, that he wasn't here for me, that he was a friend. I can still smell the blood sometimes. Used to be the sight and smell made me cry. Not anymore. Now it's a source of comfort for me. That's where the marks come from. I'm not depressed or anything, ain't gonna kill myself, but sometimes I want to feel that safety again. I called the police after he left. I think they thought it was me at first. Crazy teenager snapping and committing a murder. But I didn't have any blood on me, and the bodies were too mangled to have been done by a human. That, and the eyes, were how I knew that a man I saw wasn't a human. Nobody believed me, of course. I don't even think you'll believe me. But I wanted to at least tell someone about my friend in beast clothing. Statement end. Mr. Mercy's tale is easy to corroborate in terms of his parenthood and the deaths of said parents. Martha and Daniel Mercy were well-known individuals at the time, and the police report says much of the same. The bodies were ripped apart in ways that no human could do, so it was ruled a wild animal attack. Mr. Mercy could not further describe the man he claimed to have seen, neither here nor in any follow-up interview. He said all he remembered clearly about the man were his slitted eyes that seemed to stare into his soul, and see the real him. Mr. Mercy mentioned offhandedly that he's been thinking about his gender identity in an attempt to make conversation with our interviewer, but that he's, at the moment, unsure about who he is. He also mentioned trying to find a friend or two online while looking for college options. Statement 00-21109. Statement of Hunter Westcliffe. Statement given on September 9th, 2002, concerning the beast in woman's clothing. Statement taken directly from subject by head archivist of the Magnus Institute. Statement begins. As you can tell by my lack of an accent, I am from the great country of America, but I had to go to this little excuse of a country. I had to leave because of the thing that kept following me. For context, there was this guy at my school that acted like a girl. I think his name was Fred Mercy, so we called him out on his ungodly ways. They were always alone at school, which they deserve. He kept to himself and was constantly on his phone. When I took his phone, he was texting someone they call Spy Day Row. Anyways, after a while, there was a trip to a nature reserve we went on with our school, and it was boring, so eventually we just started bothering him. About an hour into the trip, we threw his phone into a lake. After that, he didn't respond to anything anymore. So it stopped being fun, and we stopped. The field trip went on until the late evening, and when it was dark, I have to admit it was spooky. Luckily, we left a bunch of wrappers, so we could find a way back. But when the trail of wrappers ended, we were just in an empty clearing. We started panicking a bit, and got real scared when my bro Mike noticed the freak doing something weird. Before our eyes, he turned into a large animalistic freak. Not freak as in the way he was already a freak by turning his back on the Lord. He grew raccoon-like ears and tails. It also grew large and slender, feminine even though it was a guy. Anyways, me and my buddies booked it through the forest that we didn't want to be near the devil spawn. That's the last time I saw of my buds. I think they got eaten by that monster. I only survived because God sent the cops to find me. But that wasn't the end of it. Every time I went near the woods, I saw it. The thing that killed Mike, Ted, Sven, and Hugo follows me. I went out of state once and saw it stalking me through the woods. When I went to Canada, it was there too, so I came here to escape it. It can't follow me over the ocean. Statement ends. After the statement was given, Mr. Westcliff was found dead in his apartment. Archivist note, good riddance, and seemed to be mangled by a wild animal, which is odd in the middle of London. From what we can find, the people described by Mr. Westcliff are still missing and assumed dead, including a Miss Phi Mercy. Although strange scratches were found on some of the trees in that forest that didn't seem to belong to any animal living in America, or anywhere on Earth, for that matter. End recording. Statement 004-1203. Statement of, presumably, Phi Mercy. Statement given December 3rd, 2004. Regarding the monster we made. My name is Phi Mercy. Probably only might know about me from the man I killed. That American man who believed in a god that didn't save him. If you Magnus Institute people know about the Usher Foundation, you might find an old statement I gave about 4 years ago. I won't repeat what I said there. After my parents died, I was alone, and the voices started. Beckoning me into the forest, or telling me to hunt, to kill and rip apart the people who hated me. Figured out I was a girl a bit later, funnily enough. Met someone online. I don't know their real name, I just called them Spy Dayro. They helped me stay calm and keep everything under control, till those fools doomed themselves by throwing my phone in the lake. After that, nothing had stopped the hunt from claiming me. But by then, I didn't care. I honestly think it would have been better if I'd not fought it. They deserved everything I did, and now I'm a monster. A monster made by the cruelty of man. I know there are others like me. Others who probably were. Might even still be alone. I'm going to find them. But I figured I'd be nice. Let me put a nice little bow on the case. Statement ends. This statement was snuck into the Institute by someone, and while normally it would be just some prankster, the fact the statement giver directly mentions the hunt is cause for concern. The corner of the paper is marked by 3 rips, like someone with claws shredded that part of the page. End recording. Statement 9340524. Statement of Sir Daniel Aftonbury. Statement given on June 24th, 1934. Concerning a golden gentleman. Statement taken directly from subject by head archivist of the Magnus Institute. Statement begins. This happened a while back, say 3 or 4 years ago. I was at a masquerade party, a party where we wear masks to conceal our identity. You simpler folk don't know what that is. I imagine that's how the reprobate managed to sneak in. They wore a classic suit, I think. My memory of them seems to be unclear for whatever reason, which is strange, as any of my sources can tell you, I have an excellent memory. I do remember one thing about them, the mask. It was a horrid thing, antique as it was. It seemed to be made of mostly gold and almost covered their entire face, leaving only minuscule slits for them to see out of. The evening managed to go on, despite their weird presence, although none but me seemed put off by this figure. But I continued with the night, assuming them to just be a lord or baron or businessman I hadn't met. After a while, they approached me, joyful as they did any other, and introduced themselves as Geoffrey Goldhand Goodfellow, and claimed to be a distant cousin of our gracious host, Winfred Goodfellow. As I was speaking to him, the world around me seemed to blur and become distorted. The smell of aloe and cinnamon, like an old taxidermy, pierced my nose. After this, I excused myself to the bathroom. When I came back, they were screaming, as I later found out someone ripped off the mask of the Golden Gentleman. They described them as a golden lie trying to be a person, and as they tried to describe them further to the authorities, their eyes glazed over gold, and they died. The strangest thing is that nobody claimed to remember this Golden Gentleman a day later. People claim the gentleman's death was from natural causes, despite their eyes being gold. Now I see them everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, I am followed by this gentleman with a golden mask. Statement ends. After Sir Aftonbury gave his statement, he went back to his mansion. He was found dead 2 weeks later in his study with a golden mask embedded in his head. The person that died during the party of Winfred Goodfellow was noted as alcohol poison from a drink called Mystery's Golden Truth, even though no drinks by that name was served according to the waitstaff. End recording. Statement, 1. Statement given, I don't know. Statement by Phi Mercy. Regarding the Golden Friend. Broke into the Magnus Institute. Stole a recorder, a few tapes with them. Statements, 2. Reading them. Gold Mask 1. Gold. Read about him. Hunted him down. Nice one. Polite, really nice. Says he serves a stranger. Body snatchers, people who aren't people, that kind. Glad Gold just wears a fancy mask. Don't want to see his face. Don't want to act like the guy in the statement. Been watching the Institute. Doesn't seem to be much activity. People doing jobs. Someone in there isn't normal. Smells off. Can't pin it down. Smoker guy distracts me. Archivist. Difficult kind. Skeptical. Don't blame him. Conspiracies are crazy. 3 other guys. Smoker, looks to be the boss. Joker, helper. Helper seems nicest. Well, except for the gold. She's cute. I follow her home, see what she gets up to. Can't get too close, though. Monster like me, person like her. Not possible. Statement number 0130418. Statement of Claudia McBride. Statement given on April 18th, 2013. Concerning she who rules the sky. Statement taken in by the Usher Foundation by the local archivist of the Magnus Institute. A pilot. I usually fly commercial airlines. I know what the sky looks like, even when it's storming, but what I saw, that wasn't normal. It was a day like any day. I was flying a plane from England to over here. We had just taken off about half an hour ago, when it started storming. This was already weird, as we should have been above the clouds already, and there were barely any clouds in the sky when we left. Then I heard it, a crack of thunder that almost sounded like a booming laugh. It was ominous. I thought it was just my imagination. I thought this until a woman fell onto the windscreen. Based from the damages it caused to her body, I'd guess she fell from way past the stratosphere, which shouldn't even be possible. And then it happened. A woman flew to the windshield. She wore a dress and seemed to be unaffected by the extreme velocity we were traveling, nor by the bolts of lightning that kept hitting her, only making the ends of her hair glow every time she got struck. She looked at the body, crashed into a windshield, looked at us, winked, kicked the body off, and flew after us. Both of them disappeared in the clouds immediately after getting off the windshield. Statement ends. It's always difficult to track down an avatar of the vast, but based on the description, I feel safe to say this is the avatar known as the Queen of Storms, or simply the Empress. She's an avatar with little known about her, but we know she draws, as she leaves signed art on the dead, mangled bodies of her victims. End recording. Statement 2, I guess? Statement given... Probably gonna skip this one. Statement of Phi Mercy. Regarding the friend in the sky. Hard to find this one. Storms aren't easy to track, but managed to do it. Storm came here, even. Maybe she was looking for me? Said she was surprised to see a hunter not wanting to chase and kill her. We flying was nice. Always liked storms. Helped me clear my head. She had claimed what she served. The vast fear of big empty things. Sky, ocean, space. Don't fear them myself. Ocean, once. Not the empty blue. Current. Better swimmer now, though. Still watching the Institute. Nothing much so far. Know the girl's name. Sasha. Said she met a person named Michael. Sounded like stranger at first, but no, not stranger. Stranger tries to be human. Michael didn't. Entity I don't know yet. Archivist doesn't like Helper. Don't think Helper knows. Yet. Haven't seen much of Joker or Smoker. Still smells off. Can't pin it down without getting closer. Can't get closer. They'll see me. Then the gig's up. Going to hunt after this. Getting hungry. End recording. Statement 9991005. Statement of Harry Burke, prisoner at London Prison. Statement given on October 5th, 1999. Concerning a watching mural. Statement taken directly from subject by archival assistant of the Magnus Institute. I was an archaeologist that specializes in objects connected to religious sacrifices. I worked with a bunch of objects that people claim are cursed. Usually I disregard this as people being superstitious about anything they don't know inside out, but this was different. We got on him from the basement of a fort not far from Scotland, which was found in a room filled with devices that seemed to be used to remove people's eyes. Fittingly, this room was covered in carvings of human eyes looking at the sky and looking out of the stone. If I didn't know any better, I'd think they were following me whenever I move. When it was delivered, it wasn't brought by the usual crew. They were large and had thick Cockney accents. They were also there at a late time. I was looking late when they brought it in, when I was just about to leave. My colleague was off on vacation to visit a friend, so they didn't hear the delivery drivers warning to never touch the room directly. So, when they got back and started studying it, they touched it and something changed. My colleague was called Alfred Wesson, and I swear they used to have bluish-green eyes. But after they touched the rune, it became yellow. They also stopped blinking as much, gave an almost terrifying stare. They also started knowing things they shouldn't be able to know. One day, I stumbled upon a horrid sight. I came into work, and the workroom was covered in corpses. None of the corpses had eyes, and that's when I found Alfred's body. It was nailed to the wall and seemed to be cut open by his own hand. It seemed to lack any muscles. All there was tentacles and eyes staring into my soul. Then the mass of tentacles and eyes sprang out and escaped into a vent. Moments later, the police kicked in the door and arrested me. Later turned out, my fingerprints got on the knife and cameras got corrupted. Statement ends. It turns out Mr. Burke was later blinded in prison after scooping their eyes out with a spoon, mumbling about the creature of endless eyes. Now I reside in an insane asylum, still mumbling about the eyes. Alfred Wesson was indeed killed by being skinned alive, their insides up and found after this incident. The runestone described is currently in artifact storage. End recording. Statement 3. By Mercy. Regarding the watching friend. Tentacles, eyes, always watching. Cute one. Easier to track, but saw me coming a mile away. Don't have a name, at least not what they remember. I think they're awesome, so I called them Awesome. Very huggable. Bettable too. Cute. Like them a lot. Serves the eye. Fear of being watched. Just glad to know I'm hot enough to watch. Institute picking up things. Worm Lady started showing up. Helper won't leave. Don't know Worm Lady. Makes me gag looking at her. Not scared, grossed out. Worms all over her body, crawling out. Don't want them getting in me. Can't get too close. Institute smell changed. Smells like worms now. Need to be careful. End recording. Statement 9461102. Statement of Rose Shrimp, given on November 2nd, 1946, concerning the neighboring mold. Statement taken directly from subject by head archivist of the Magnus Institute. I live in the woods. There's no need to dance around the subject. I don't like all the noise of the city, and I have all I need in the forest. Well, everything except one thing. Friends are hard to come by. But then one day, someone built a cabin within walking distance from mine, and they came over as a decently friendly person, if not a bit messy. I ended up spending quite a bit of time with them. Call themselves Baltimore. They said they ended up moving to their cabin after being sick and tired of the order and tidiness of society, and at first I was fine with it. After all, made sense to me. But then something changed. They started growing fungi outside the house. They said they were just growing them to eat, but some of the ones were highly poisonous. And that's not where it ended. I came to their house a couple days later. Everything was covered in mold, along with their corpse, which then rose and asked me to come in. I didn't want to aggravate it, so I entered in fear of upsetting the mold person. Although as we spoke, the mold in their body seemed to retreat into and under their skin. And I heard the whispers. They spoke of love and of closeness. I immediately excused myself when I realized the mold started spreading across my body, although now I find myself a bit tempted to return to my friend. Statement ends. Evidently, Miss Shrimp couldn't resist the call of the mold, as she was never heard from again. A month after her disappearance, the police went to check on her cabin, only to find it and one like it covered in fungus and rotting away, with no evidence of either resident, except for a single human-shaped patch of mold. End recording. Statement 4, given by Phi Mercy, regarding the moldy friend. Balti, nice one. Mold isn't as bad as the worms. Don't mind mold, moss, that kind of stuff. Doesn't smell that bad, not gross to look at. Balti serves corruption, like the worm lady. Worm lady might be the first woman I don't want to kiss. Balti doesn't like her either. Nice. Corruption's about sickness, rot, bugs, and decay. Don't fear it, but don't like it either. Kinda meh. At least Balti isn't full of holes. Bit green, though. Promised to not mold me. Nice friend. Keep a corner of my place moldy for him to be in. Not much to say on the Institute. Others aren't leaving much either. 3 people showed up. Same person, but 2. Same voice. Spoke sentences together. Delivered a package. Smell like stranger, I think? Like gold did. Can barely tell through the worms. Hate them. So gross. Grosser than blood. Organs. At least organs aren't moving when they're outside the body. Well, usually. Statement 0140414. Statement of Maya Smith. Statement given on April 14th, 2014. Concerning the Risen Ones. Statement taken directly from subject by head archivist of the Magnus Institute. I know I might seem insane. I've been told I'm insane by most of my fellow students and teachers. See, I'm studying to be a coroner, so I am fairly used to bodies, but they are usually, well, dead. This time was different. We got a body to study. She was horribly mutilated. Half her arms are completely void of flesh. Her bones were engraved with weird sigils. Her chest was open and her lungs were removed, with only her heart being in her chest. According to some notes, she was sacrificed by some cultists that apparently wanted to raise the dead with an old book. Well, we started examining her corpse for a while, and at first it was fine, until I had to look up one night. We have a couple of bodies being worked on at a time, so everyone gets a chance to practice. So I was cleaning up after everyone but me and my professor had left. I went to put the cadaver into storage, but then it moved. And I don't mean it moved from something moving it, it moved on its own. She rose and started mumbling in some weird language, which caused the other cadavers we had to rise, and they were not happy. They started ripping my teacher apart, but they were mindless corpses, no thoughts beside their actions, except for the sacrificed one. She was oddly regal. She exuded a confident aura and was honestly awe-inspiring. She grabbed a gown we had taken from another body we had, put it on, and walked out, a mob of walking dead following behind her, taking my still screaming professor with them. And I just went home. I had never seen my professor again after this happened. I'm honestly tempted to find her again. I think her name was Bubbly Ships. Statement ends. Miss Smith went missing 3 weeks after giving this statement. although there have been reports of an unmarked grave appearing in a local graveyard. The corpse described in the statement does indeed seem to line up with a 25-year-old student that got killed in what we believe to be a ritual to gain immortality. And there have been a few sightings reported of a black woman with purple-brown hair in a black dress with blood on it. The professor described in the statement was eventually found buried in the ground with only an arm exposed in the playground. They seem to have died from being ripped apart. End recording. Statement 05. Statement of High Mercy regarding the hot corpse friend. Uh, bubbly. Bubbly ships. Was easy to find. It turns out she's nearby. Lives like a queen. Corpses do everything for her. Found the Smith lady, dead. One of the two bodies that were clinging to her. Half expected Bubbly to add me to her corpse harem. Might have been half wanting it. She didn't. She was nice. Spoke about her entity. The end. Fear of death. Not my fear. Don't mind dying. Especially if it means I can be one of Bubbly's girlfriends. Never thought I'd dream about being the corpse bride, but here we are. Worm Lady died. Tried getting into the Institute. Got into the people, but they survived. Got the worms out before it was too late. Sasha smells different. More flowery. Everyone's stuck there. Quarantine, I heard. Can't figure out much more. Statement number 9961103. Statement of Viridian. Statement given on November 3rd, 1996. Concerning that they that draw from beneath. Statement found in living room of subject by archival assistant of the Magnus Institute. Ugh. Archivist note, I seem to be losing the ability to speak. Statement begins. They live. I just know it. It shouldn't be possible, but I just know they are alive. Okay, so I had a neighbor. Nicola was their name. They kept to she kept to herself most of the time. Spent most of her time drawing and painting. Real creative type. It also had a large garden filled with mostly potatoes and tomatoes. It was a decently normal day when it happened. I was tending my own garden somewhere around 2 in the afternoon when a strange person came to their house. They were tall and a bit skinny and wore a dark wet grey hoodie with a cobweb design on it. They had long blonde hair and weird slit-like wrinkles on their forehead and were holding a weird package. They walked to my neighbor's door, knocked, and let themselves in. 12 minutes later, they walked out without the package. I never saw what was inside, but I just know it's connected to what happened later. A couple days later, some strange men came to our house, kicked in our door, and stabbed her to death, and buried them in a garden. But as they were about to leave, she rose from the dirt. Her wounds seemed to be healing from just being in contact with the dirt. She then proceeded to take his shovel and beat the men over the heads. They weren't dead. I could see them breathing. I could also see them breathing when Nicola buried them alive. Later, I also heard their screams coming from her garden. I'm too afraid to call the police, but I might have to confront her. This statement ends. The statement was found on a patch of dirt in Mr. Dean's house. He was later found, dug up. Apparently, he was buried alive. We have concluded that the package delivered to Mr. Dean's neighbor was an artifact of the buried, which we believe caused her to turn into an avatar of the buried. End recording. Statement 6. Statement of High Mercy regarding the dirty friend. Would this be considered a supplemental? Not nearly as detailed as the other statements. Just my add-on. Nicola, put in the dirt, came from the dirt. It serves the buried. Fear of drowning, being crushed, suffocating. Thoughts send shivers down my spine. Don't like suffocating. Sounds awful. Can dig through steel now, though. Can't be killed that way. Nicola is nice, though. Probably won't try. Probably. Art's pretty good. Don't much like Sasha anymore. Smells of stranger. Think she's dead. Been replaced. Got attached to again to a regular human. Stupid, stupid Phi. Can't keep doing this. Love will just lead to pain. Know that. Stop falling for people. Doomed to fail, stupid monster. Statement number 9930603. Statement of Tim Timberley Timberlake. Statement given on June 3rd, 1993. Concerning the ooze made of night. Statement taken directly from subject by head archivist of the Magnus Institute. Statement begins. It's dark. It's all dark. There is no light. Not forever. I should probably explain myself. I am a doctor. I work in a small hospital near Wales. I'm a man of science and ones that help those who can't help themselves. I am also a prominent member of my community and a devout Christian. But for some reason, God sent upon me a vision of Lucifer himself. It was a day like any other, a bit busy, but no patients that were horribly injured or sick, until the weird one came in. He was a weird man, horribly gaunt and malnourished. He was covered in tattoos and scars. He was sitting in my waiting room, with no past patient records and mumbling in a language I don't speak. I didn't realize it was Latin until I just knew a single couple of words he spoke. Thekos. I can't repeat it. But in English it means divine host. When he said those words, all the lights in the room went out, and another man started convulsing. And a woman and a child. Soon all but me and the strange man were convulsing, and they were all puking out a dark ichor. I could only barely see because I've been known to have very good seeing in the dark. The ichor spread over the room, covering all but me and the stranger. It was impossible to see anything. After that, it was like those senses just didn't work and weren't connected to a person. Then I managed to see just barely enough again. The man raised his arms, and the echo, or goo, or ooze if you prefer, started consuming him, draining from the room while the stranger took it all in. Soon he was covered in the vile stuff. And when it had fully drained from the room, the man was gone, and the ooze was standing there. He thanked me, walked into a shadow in the corner, and disappeared. Lights came back on. I later checked the camera. Statement ends. It was at this point that Dr. Timberlake suffered a heart attack that proved fatal, although some claim they saw a dark green shift through the shadows at the time the statement was taken. We are certain that this is the work of the Church of the Divine Host, and a successful attempt of imbuing the dark into a person. End recording. Supplemental 07 of Phi Mercy, regarding the Goopy friend. Goop. That's what I call them. Not the same creature they serve, but like them. The dark. My fear, unknown, unseen, that stuff. Hate not knowing, not seeing. Can't fight without knowing. Goop's good, though. Don't agree on the dark, but otherwise we get along alright. Don't know much about them, but what I do know was enough. Not gonna be the curious one. Already curious enough with the Institute. Worms are gone. Stranger smell is still there. Need nothing else to point the right scent. Smells familiar. Hate that thing. That took Sasha. Might hunt it later. Might not. Archivist is going crazy. Paranoid. Michael's prey, probably. Smells of fear and distrust towards everyone. Helper smells of sadness. Joker of anger. Smoker smells the same. Just cigarettes. Statement number 9410929. Statement of Graham Greenwaters. Statement given on September 29th, 1941. Concerning the Fey of War. Statement taken by Archival Assistant on field works in the war zone. I saw it. I swear I saw it. Don't call me crazy. There was a fairy. I just know it. It was small, but God, it killed so many men. Archivist note, the assistant had to ask Mr. Greenwaters to calmly explain what he saw. So, it was an early morning. I was on the lookout for enemy soldiers, like I usually do. That was when I saw it. You see, there was a forest near No Man's Land that used to be a peaceful place with a lot of enemies. But when I looked at it a few days ago, I saw a human-shaped creature come out of it, with a bunch of things floating around it as it flew. One of the things floating around was bagpipes that played deafening music that was way louder than it should be, along with a war drum that made a marching beat with earth-shaking intensity. Flew over to the bunkers of the enemies. I don't know how they didn't notice it, but they soon would. When I floated over the bunker, took a single coin, flipped it when it landed, stared at it for a moment, and then killed them all. The grenades that floated around it, duplicated tenfold, had their pins pulled automatically, or dropped all over. A dozen automatic rifles started spraying endless bullets into the base, the screams of soldiers somehow crying over the explosions and sounds of gunfire. Then the flamethrowers came. 5 flamethrowers covered the entirety of the enemy base in flame, torching anything that survived the onslaught of bullets and bombs. And then, as quick as it came, it left, leaving only a fiery crater. Statement ends. This is the first statement that speaks of the fluttering wings of war. An avatar that we later discovered came from a young child that was killed after some soldiers clipped a coin on if they were to live or die. The fluttering wings of war flips this coin anytime they see a place fit for their massacre. Mr. Greenwaters later died of a shot to the face in 1943, though this has not been linked to the fluttering wings of war or any other avatar of the slaughter. End recording. Supplemental 8 of By Mercy. I'm late. They're below the Institute. Fluttering gave me a much needed talk to do what I needed. Slaughter, random violence. Don't mind feeding another entity if it meant getting revenge. Grips tighter. Wasn't human. Neck broke, same as any. Gotta leave. Fast. Can't be seen. Statement number 9970506. Statement of Kelsey Apples. Statement given on May 6th, 1997. Concerning the Magma Man. Statement given directly from subject by head archivist of the Magnus Institute. Statement begins. I was on a vacation in Hawaii. Have you ever been to Hawaii? It's a group of volcanic islands, if you didn't know. I went climbing on one of the volcanoes and found that a patch of forest was burned with stone being melted along the path it created. Naturally, I followed it, even though I shouldn't have. After all, lava doesn't usually make a vertical path of molten stone and burnt vegetation. Went on for a long time. The further I walked, the harder it got. I followed the path into a cave that had the same path of cooled-off lava, but now had weird scratches on the walls that looked like someone glided their finger over it. Then noticed a photo embedded into the wall. It seemed to be an old family photo, although it was burned. As I walked, I saw more objects, children's toys, photos, souvenirs, and the such. Then I saw an arm. It seemed to be of an old oak man, though the flesh was burned and some bone was exposed, and all of it was covered in cooled lava. I found more people. Some arms, torsos, legs, heads. Hell, I even saw half of an entire child sticking out. They were all burned. The face I saw was screaming and seemed to be terrified under all the cooled lava. It got increasingly hot until I got to a larger chamber. It seemed to be functioning as some kind of living space. And then I heard it. The screams? I watched as a person held their hand to the wall of the cabin, melting it into lava and using their other hand to shove someone in face first. The hand scorching any flesh and burning any hair it came into contact with. At that point I ran out of that cave, away from the mountain, and took the first flight home. Statement ends. It seems the Church of the Lightless Flame has found out about dear Apple's encounter with an avatar of the Desolation, one we only know as Lava. That seems to be their favorite way to torture and kill their victims. Ms. Apple's house was found burnt down. Ms. Apple stretched across their room with change in their living room, with hot wax dripping on their face, freezing their face in a scream. Sickening. End recording. Supplemental 9 of Fire Mercy, regarding the Molten Friend. Fuck. I think Smoker saw me while I was running. Had to run for the hills to not get caught by the cops, too. Tripped, cut myself on rocks, nearly sliced my damn arm in half. Fuck! Only got out because of lava. The installation, burning things, made of the stuff. Didn't melt me for some reason. Arm's no good for a while. Fuck. Haven't hurt like this in a while. Missed it. Pain's freezing. Makes me realize I'm still alive. Fuck! Archivist ran. Stake of fear, trauma. Got too far. Saw what he shouldn't. Need to rest. Cover. Lava's helping me. Brought the wounds closed. Have ice. Cast. Fuck! Statement 0160723. Statement of Ben Sampson. Statement given on July 23rd, 2016. Concerning the butchering cripple. Statement taken directly from subject by archival assistant of the Magnus Institute. You probably already know who I am. Hell, I likely own your house. I'm a prominent landlord in the greater London area. One of my duties is collecting rent from some of the more out-of-the-way properties. One of these is a butcher shop owned by a cripple. Horrid woman never leaves that damn wheelchair of hers. She's got legs. She's probably just too busy to walk. Anyway, she's being late with her payments, keeps distracting me by being more focused on attending to her horrid meats, not paying attention to me, even though I am of the clearly superior sex and of a higher class. Anyway, her terrible manners and horrid existence aside, a friend of mine suggested getting rid of her in a more permanent way. And after debating it, I sent a couple men to take care of the butcher of the silence calling butchery. I went there a week later, and she was still there. Said she got some new meats, and that the sausages she made of them a real hit. So after about a month, me and a few of the lads went to a high-end pub you couldn't even hope to afford, and we got the idea to just kill off the wench ourselves. So we bought a couple of knives and went to the butchery, and then everything went wrong. When we entered, we noticed something was off. There was meat all over the floor, walls, and ceiling. I immediately tried to leave, but found the door blocked by bones and yet more meat. Then she came out of the back and opened her stomach, and ate a couple of my mates right there. The rest of us managed to escape. I swear, she didn't seem to have legs, just an appendage not far off from the mermaid of her logo. I hope she forgets this because I had to collect her rent again. Statement ends. Evidently, they didn't forget, as Mr. Sampson was never seen again after going to collect rent. A week later, the sirens calling started serving something called lordly sausages, which I can only guess are made from human flesh. And even though the shop clearly exists, it doesn't seem to have a business license, although I can imagine what would happen if anyone tried to shut the business down. Furthermore, the owner of the shop, one Mer Tinker, seems very familiar with someone known as Spied Arrow after we asked them about them. Ms. Mer called them a kind web of lies, which does not seem like a good thing for us. End recording. Supplemental 10 of High Mercy. Regarding the butcher friend, found the statement after meeting Mer. Lava took me to them, said they could heal me. Lucky me, Mer was nice, said I was the most polite hunter they'd dealt with. There are no others of my ilk, my pack. Let people see them as monsters, killing just because. Dumbasses, that's Slaughter's job. Turns out, Mer's entity gave them the power to change the body. I think the hunt changed me into what I wanted because I'd choose different otherwise. Hunt is perfect for me, but being able to look in the mirror and see a face I can call pretty would have been so tempting. Mers of the flesh. Hear that, at the end of the day, we're just meat, or any kind of body dysphoria. Probably one of my worst ones back in the day. But now I'm happy. Mer definitely sells human flesh. Maybe it's the beast in me talking, but eating human doesn't seem too bad. Made a deal with Mer. They'd heal me up if I ever needed it, and bring every catch I hunted to the shop. Seems almost unfair to them. But, most importantly, they know Spied Arrow. Didn't dare ask about them. Feels forbidden somehow. Spied Arrow wants to keep secrets, I say go ahead. no fur off my arm. Oh yeah, Nurse said they didn't do it, but when my arm got healed, white fur grew over the places that were cut. Might be a hunt claiming me more? Dunno. Still able to think. Still know who I am. Or at least what I am. Who my friends are. Some stranger stole my name. Wouldn't mind. Name I chose. Might be mine. But in the end, just a howl to get my attention. Other noises for friends to make, long as that stranger doesn't fuck up my standing. They could head back across the ocean. Back to America. Take my old life. Might be secondhand, but still. It was a good life I left behind. Don't regret it, just fun to think of what might have been. Haven't slept lately. Too much pain. I need to rest. Then hunt tomorrow. Starving. Need good food. Statement 00100503. Statement of Octavia Toon given on May 3rd, 2001. Concerning the fractures of the party's personality. Statement taken directly from subject by head archivist of the Magnus Institute. Statement begins. I was looking for my sibling. They disappeared a while back. They study arachnids in a secluded cabin in the woods. I don't mind the lack of people and actually quite enjoy the silence. It's about an hour's drive and half an hour of walking to get there, so I don't make the trip often. But I try to make it once per 6 months to make sure they're still alive. I went around 4 days ago and it was different. First off, there was a party, as in a full-on loud, almost rave-like party with loud noises, crowds, alcohol, and bright lights. Second off, the room was larger than it should be. My sibling lived in a small home, but this room was enormous, way larger than it should be, and that wasn't even the weirdest thing. All the people were the exact same. They had dark hair with bright dyed tips, fair skin, and heterochromia. One eye was grey, and the other was an extremely bright color. They all wore bright clothes that were constantly changing size and material. There were drinks served in glasses that shouldn't be able to exist, and the drinks didn't seem to follow gravity, and were also in bright colors. I say bright colors because they kept shifting from cyan to red to green to yellow to white to pink to purple to black. Even black was somehow extremely bright. I don't even know how that was possible. When I saw it, I walked to the door and almost instantly passed out. When I awoke, the house was gone and I was nowhere near the forest I was in. Statement ends. This seems to be the work of an avatar of the spiral known as Cass. The weird thing is the only record we have of anyone in the Toon family named Octavia Toon is from 1943, and she is an avatar of the Lonely. So it seems this Octavia is a person from a separate timeline, which definitely seems like the spiral feeding. End recording. Statement 11 of Phi Mercy. Regarding the one who was, is, and will be my friend. I'm going to see Cass. They're going to say they're an avatar of the spiral. I'm enjoying myself at the party, drinking my Sprite before Cass in a blue shirt is going to come over and ask what I want to drink. I asked if they had any Mountain Dew. They're going to nod, and they walked off. I shrug and go back to drinking my root beer before the one in the red shirt came back and handed me the water I'm going to ask for. I'm thanking them, and they told me to enjoy the party. I'm going to tell them that I have enjoyed the party, and then walk off as I continue to enjoy myself. The party was nice. I recommend it. Their time isn't really real. Things have, will, and are happening. As someone who's deep into quantum physics, love it. Proof I saw it. Am seeking, will seek. As long as I'm home in time to catch the news, need some tragedies to laugh at. Statement 019123. Statement of Sally Turn. Statement given on November 23rd, 2019. Concerning a friend from the mist. Statement taken directly from subject by archival assistant of the Magnus Institute. Statement begins. So, I was told to come here by a friend of mine. She believes in a lot of things about spirits and gods and the supernatural, and thinks what happened to me was done by some sort of spirit. Anyway, I use an app to contact people I don't know in person, and I met someone who I consider a friend. Now, this friend of mine, let's call her Earth, as that's what they went by on the site. We used to call and chat quite frequently. They were really into collecting antiques and went looking for them often. One time she messaged me saying she found an old book. Later, she called me and we started talking about what it might be. She said the shopkeeper that sold it to her told her it was cursed and to never read it, but she called them crazy and old. It was called Walking to Sky and said it was published in 1980. A couple days later, she said she was going to read it, saying that crazy seller didn't know what they were talking about. After they said that, I didn't hear from them for weeks. When I called her, she said the book convinced her to isolate herself a bit. A few weeks later, I hadn't heard from them again, so I went to their apartment. But when I got within 2 blocks of their house, there were no people, no driving cars, no animals. It was just a strange, thick fog. When I got to their apartment, it was so thick I could hardly see anything. Even as I stepped inside, it was only fog. When I entered her living room, I managed to see her there. She was just sitting at her desk. But when I approached, she just turned to me, told me to never speak of it, vanished, leaving only the book. I took it with me. It's also weird that this weird fog has been following me and statement ends. It was at this point that Miss Turn vanished. As far as we can tell, the book she brought with her was a lightener. We can't find any details about her friend, but the book is dated on the year of birth of the author, one Randy F. Face. We don't know what it does, but we are certain that it's connected to the lonely. We have been ordered not to talk about it, as the assistant who took the statement also vanished when she tried talking about it during the lunch break. And recording. Supplemental 12 of Phi Mercy, regarding the same thing. Lonely. Probably the one hardest for me to find. Whole thing is having nothing, no one, being alone. So it was almost impossible to find Earth. Earth is sad. Try to cheer them up. Won't let me. Not gonna give up. Gonna stay with her and fight till she gives up and lets me help her. Been watching the archives more. So much has happened. 2 girls joined. Both are cute. Sour personality on one, though. Archivist is getting himself thrown around like an American football. Circus is coming to town. He's headed to America. Might follow. See how my old town is doing, maybe? Supplemental 13. Find Mercy. I know he knows I'm here. But I know this recorder is far enough away that even he can't use it. Awesome's blocking him for me. Elias. Smoker. He's of the eye and bad enough that other people like him hate him. Awesome calls him selfish creature abusing power. Said Elias wants to bring upon a ritual. Change the world and make not his eye, but his own self the crowned king. I don't even know if the eye wants him to win. Awesome won't say. Only says that they themselves don't want Elias to win. I know what Hunt wants. Endless hunt, endless food. The ever chase. Stranger apparently wants the unknowing. Some monsters just need to learn moderation. My friends get that. So they wouldn't help stop their ritual in respect to their patrons. I get that. Gold gave me something. Mask. I like it. Cute and pretty. Kind of fancy. It'll be on the shelf. Need to keep my distance from the archives. Except maybe the archivist. He's I himself, but fights monsters for good. Like me. Monster and humans never interact, but is he human still? Meaning between monsters and so taboo. And recording. Uh-huh. Turning on your own terms, eh? Don't smell like I. Trust you, for now. Want a statement? Fine. Statement. Fuck, what is it now? 14? Statement given by Phi Mercy. Not really much to say. Circus came, circus went. Forgot myself. Almost. Had to stare. Repeat. Phi Mercy. Soon became the only thing I had left. Still remembering. Think it screwed with my head a bit more than it should have. Know the now. Recent stuff. Distant past. Fuzzy. Unknowing or just Hunt taking from me? Archivist, comatose. Joker dead. Cold stiffy. Disappointed and relieved at the same time that the unknowing failed. For the best. Even Everchase won't stop the end. Just make it end faster. Tired. So tired lately. Victims always taken before I feed. Other hunters in my turf. So hungry. Gnawing, biting, wants out. Find them. Get them. Feed on them. Make sure they never hunt my prey. After a nap. Need rest. Can't... Can't hunt without eyes being open. Statement 01100903. Statement of the Avatar previously known as Seth Toon. Statement given on September 3rd, 2011. Concerning their life and machinations. Statement taken directly from subject by head of the Magnus Institute. So what do you want me to say, Jonah? Both from times past and elongate our life with the power of the powers. Although the mother seems to keep my body intact while you have to keep switching yours. But I'm not here to brag, just wanted my story. Well, let's see, I studied spiders around 1962. My sister got herself lost and lonely. I became one of the mother's special children, and from then on I served her dutifully. From then on, sometimes I help the beholding, sometimes I lead a band of the lightless flame to your doorstep. I just keep the balance between the powers a bit, as the mother likes it when she can guide others from you and into her own. But recently, she gave me an odd mission in comparison to others I have done for her. In the year 2000, someone was marked by the hunt. A trans woman named Phi. Honestly, quite a nice woman, if you get over her initial shy behavior. I met her over the internet and just started being a friend. I even tried helping her deal with some bullies, even if it did push her closer towards the Everchase. Eventually she did get pushed into the hunt fully by our bullies, hunted and killed every last one of them. I'm honestly half worried that if she finds me, she'll try to end me for helping the hunt claim her. Although I have been following the instructions the mother has spoken to me, and left statements guiding her here. If I'm correct, she should try doing something against you. I honestly wouldn't try stopping her if you value her life, Jonah. And if she finds this statement, she will definitely find me. And I just have to hope she has realized what the hunt has done for her, and doesn't decide to hunt me. Don't worry about cataloging this one, Archivist. It won't be necessary. Sincerely, a servant of the web. Statement. Whatever. Defy mercy. Found this tape in that bastard's pocket after I killed him. Spied arrow. Seth. The web. An entity I didn't know. The others all kept it from me. Wonder how far the strands travel. How many of the people I've met are just puppets dancing to the tune. Like me. Had it right, I suppose. I stopped the Watcher's crown. This letter, this handwriting. Finally I can track something. I'll find them. Finally I can meet the person that led me into this fate. After seeing Myrrh. Magnus, for what he's worth, was a pretty good fighter. Managed to take off my arm before Budley killed him. Do you think the Eye's self-imposed high priest would be a big enough catch? Finally know what entity is listening to me. So, mother of puppets, what do you think? Magnus for an arm? I think it's fair trade. I'm leaving this tape and all the others in the archivist on John's doorway. He's hiding out where the cop hunter was. Once. I'll need to find her, too. Fix her. Make her herself again. Sorry, Spied Arrow. Have to wait a few weeks before I can find you. But I will. Statement ends.